Hey everybody, welcome to the little pre-stream countdown we got going on here. We got 1 minute until Canary Cry News Talk goes live. Hello to everyone tuning in on YouTube and the Facebook and the Periscope and especially the Twitch. Again, you've heard me say it before. If you are watching anywhere around the internet, welcome back. But if you are looking for a way to help us out, we are trying to average 75 concurrent viewers over on Twitch. Sounds easy, but is a little bit harder when everybody likes to sit snugly in their YouTube cave. That's okay, but hey, if you're looking to help us out, help us get to that 75 concurrent viewer count over on Twitch, head to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. See you there. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is, May 4th. Oh my gosh, May the 4th, 2020, episode 193. And this week, Snitches get doxed and Asian murder wasps. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Thank you guys for joining us live. We're live on FaceLikeTheSun YouTube channel. We're live on the Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel. We're live on DLive, we're live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook in the community, Facebook on the page, and even Periscope, even though nobody's really watching on Periscope. But we live stream to there anyway, in case anybody wants to check it out. And
Just
Basil,
in case.
It's May Day.
No, it's not May Day.
Oh, I mean, not May Day. It's May the 4th day. I'm sorry, I'm a little off my game today.
May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, everybody. No, yeah. I get it, though. Our last show was on May Day, May 1st, which is its own holiday of sorts. And now it's May the 4th. It just happened to turn out that way. So May the 4th be with you, Gonz. I have my little baby Yoda here who's getting green screened out.
He's going
to a list.
It's the baby Yoda when he's phasing in and out of life, you know. He's visiting us from the other side, you know, so he's kind of just phasing in and out. That's what's going
Grandpa
on there.
Yoda, you know, when he passed away, turned into a little ghost. That's kind of just what Baby Yoda's doing here. I want a good shout out, man. These late shows. I'm not used to this. We've done a pretty good job doing daytime shows, and we tried to do a daytime show today, but then it didn't work. So here we are. We're nighttime show. Thanks for everybody who tried to tune in to the daytime show, and thanks for being here at the nighttime show. We'll see how the numbers differ. This is a very fun experiment, Gonz. But yeah, well, is there anything you want to do to celebrate May the 4th?
Oh, I just have my pure white lightsaber that
yes.
that I have here, and it's a
your non-canonical.
Yes, non-canonical pure white lightsaber. Just for the. I know it's not the 4th. I'm sure half the people watching, it's not May the 4th anymore, but it is for us here, or at least for me anyway, in Cali. So we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna put this down now because it's not really conducive to the show.
I'm gonna see if Baby Yoda can make it through the show without falling down. He's doing a great job holding my microphone up. But Gonz, I figured we might as well do some show for everybody tuning in. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's start off. Let's see. We got a food story. Oh no, we got Yoda facts. We don't have a jingle for that, but since it's that day, May the 4th be with you.
One.
You'll do one? Okay, so we're going to do just Yoda facts.
Yoda facts.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, so first off, did you know that Yoda was almost played by a monkey? According to the book The Making of Star Wars by J.W. Rinzer, George Lucas originally planned for Yoda to be played by an adorable monkey wearing a mask and carrying a cane.
What?
Yeah. George Lucas.
crazy.
George Lucas had some ideas, man, but they
I
said,
did not know that.
yeah, I think they went with the puppet instead, just to give it a little more,
Yeah, that's back in the days where it was a little harder to get monkeys to do what you wanted on screen, I feel like.
I don't think so. You've seen some of those old footage. No, I'm telling you right now. Back in the day, you have the old footage of monkeys running around in a circus dress and jumping through hoops and stuff. I disagree.
You're right.
I disagree with you.
Okay. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
We finally found the place where we disagree the most.
It's the
How
monkey.
easy it would have been to train a monkey to be Yoda.
Yeah, and plus less internet back then, so more time to train monkeys.
Yeah, good point.
Here's another Yoda fact. Yoda has no determined species. You probably knew this one. Yoda's species has never been named. A mystery it is.
I did know that.
Yeah, and then Yoda is not a Muppet. Legendary Muppeteer Frank Oz voiced Yoda, and Jim Henson oversaw its creation, but he was built by a member of Lucasfilm, so don't expect to see him at Kermit's holiday party. And the last little useless information here, depending on what movie you're watching, Yoda has a different number of toes. In the Phantom Menace, Yoda has 3 toes, but in The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Revenge of the Sith, he has 4. The mystery continues.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's all the Yoda facts I had here. Yep, that's it.
Good Yoda facts. Good job.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Well, yeah, I'm glad we got to fit a little bit of May the 4th celebration in there, and I know a certain contingent of the listeners are as well. And another contingent of the listeners think that we are, CIA shills because we're pushing Star Wars. But whatever your beliefs about Star Wars are, everybody's welcome here. Speaking of being a CIA shill, let's do
What?
These night shows are weird, man.
Yeah, you're a little loopy.
Let's do this is a lot, okay? We got food update, Chinese news, and Flippy.
Now you are cooking.
Can I get 2 hamburgers?
Yes, sir.
With french fries?
Yes, sir.
What about an omelet?
Sure. Got a couple eggs. Welcome to Chinese Show.
And I don't have the Flippy ready, but
Oh,
y'all
nuts.
know the Flippy update jingle. You guys can rehearse it in
Yeah.
your heads. Let me try to find it while you're reading this article.
Okay. All right. Let me know when you got it. This is on news.yahoo.com. And, at the beginning of this whole coronavirus nonsense, that we reported on some robotics being used in Chinese hospitals to help disinfect things and sort of do some janitorial work. But now here we have the headline reads, Robots and Cameras, China's Sci-Fi Quarantine Watch. How you doing on that? Jingle.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
We did it.
There it
Robots delivering meals, ghostly figures in hazmat suits, and cameras pointed at front doors. China's methods to enforce coronavirus quarantines have looked like a sci-fi dystopia for legions of people. Authorities have taken drastic steps to ensure that people do not break isolation rules after China largely tamed the virus that had paralyzed the country for months. With cases imported from abroad threatening to unravel China's progress, travelers arriving from overseas have been required to stay home or in designated hotels for 14 days. Beijing loosened the rule in the capital this week, except for those arriving from abroad and Hubei, the province where the virus first surfaced late last year. At one quarantine hotel in central Beijing, a guard sits at a desk on each floor to monitor all movements. The solitude is broken by one of the few visitors allowed near the rooms, a 3-foot-tall cylindrical robot that delivers water bottles, meals, and packages to hotel guests. The robot rides the elevator and navigates hallways on its own to minimize contact between guests and human staff. When the robot arrives at its destination, it dials the landline phone in the room and informs the occupant in an eerie, childlike voice. Hello, this is your service robot. Your order has arrived outside your room. Its belly opens and the guest takes the delivery items before the robot turns and
Its
rolls
belly
away.
opens. That's kind of creepy.
I know. Doctors in hazmat suits go from room to room daily, reminding occupants, including the AFP journalist who had been in Hubei, to take their temperatures with the mercury thermometer provided at check-in, and to ask if they are experiencing any symptoms. People under home quarantine elsewhere in the city have had silent electronic alarms installed on their doors. Officials put up a notice on each quarantined household's door, asking neighbors to keep an eye on the confined inhabitants. In one Beijing residential compound, officials told AFP that people under home quarantine must inform community volunteers whenever they open their doors. Frederick Boehi, a German journalist, began her second quarantine in Beijing this year on Sunday after returning from Hubei's capital, Wuhan. Her building's management installed a camera in front of her door to monitor her movements. Quote, "It's quite scary how you get used to such things," she told AFP. Quote, "Apart from the camera, I do believe that the guards and the cleaner on the compound would denunciate me if I were to go out," Behe said. During her previous quarantine experience in March, after returning from a trip to Thailand, she was reported to building management by a cleaner for going downstairs to take out the trash. No human contact. Total isolation has become temporary norm for those under strict quarantine, without even a single trip to the grocery store to walk to break up the monotony. And there's a little bit more to the story, but there you go, Gons. They are quarantining folks, as we know, but putting cameras on their doors, silent alarms on the doors, and a nice little Flippy the Robot to deliver you water bottles and food, and to keep an eye on you. You know what it reminds me of? I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo. And these robots are, it's a human zoo that these robots are the zookeepers.
That's true. That is very true. You know, we did a story at the end of last year. Maybe it was the middle of last year. It's all kind of a blur. But we reported on a hotel in China that was talking about like minimal human contact and all the robots roaming around the halls and stuff. And you had eye scanners and everything. It seems like China is really ready for this kind of thing. You know, they've been prepping for a long time for this type of
for the ultra control, silent alarm,
the high level
cameras
control
on every doorway.
Yeah, and it just I don't know, the way they wrote this with the cameras and everything, it reminded me of the opening scene of 1984, I think, where they where he's kind of hiding in the corner away from the cameras and the TV screens. But yeah, I mean, this is I don't know, this isn't a surprise. But
not much to say. We've been kind of hearing about this stuff for a while, but just to the degree that they enforce this quarantining for especially travelers, I think in particular, but people who are known to have the disease, really intense. And this lady getting snitched out by her cleaning ladies. And speaking of which, Gons, let's move on to the next story.
Oh, okay. We're already moving. Okay.
We're moving fast.
Okay. I thought I had this one ready here, but apparently I don't, but I do have it somewhere here.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Independent.co.uk. Now, Gons, we made a big deal in the past few shows about how, authorities in the U.S. were calling on neighbors to snitch on each other, and I made no ifs, ands, or buts about how I felt about that. And here's this article: 900 Missouri residents who snitched on lockdown rule breakers fear retaliation after details leaked online.
Ooh.
The article reads, hundreds of Missouri residents have had their personal details shared online after the publication of a document that recorded reports made against those flouting lockdown measures. Some people are now concerned that they will face consequences for snitching on coronavirus rule breakers in St. Louis County, Missouri. It comes after St. Louis County authorities called on people to report businesses and persons not following statewide lockdown measures last month. The names and addresses of almost 900 people were shared on Facebook to name and shame them after authorities had released the data following a media request under the state's Sunshine Law, which requires authorities to release information submitted to public agencies. Quote, I'm not only worried about COVID, I'm worried about someone showing up at my door, showing up at my workplace, or me getting fired for doing what is right, said a woman named Patricia, who had made a report to KSDK News. Quote, when there is something that happens next time, I'm not going to feel safe or protected enough to call the local authorities. Next time I see a young father and his young daughter playing catch in the park, I'm not going to feel safe narking them and having him arrested. That was my addition there.
Yeah.
The complaints resulted in 29 businesses receiving court summons in April, leaving some concern that they will face dismissal at work after reporting on rule breaking at their own workplace. So there's people who snitched on their own companies.
Co-workers.
They just weren't happy. They weren't happy with the fact that they had a job and were getting paid. They snitched out their bosses. Anyways, quote, we're in a society where doing what's right doesn't always get rewarded, added Patricia. Quote, we have to be extra careful because we don't have the strength to fight this. The Missouri resident told KSDK News that she had asked to be made anonymous. Whoops. But that did not stop the complete publication of the documents. Jared Toch, who shared the personal details online. So this is the guy who shared it online. Interesting how they have him in the article here. Wrote on Facebook, quote, if they are worried about retaliation, they should have read the fine print in which stated their tips would be open public record subject to a sunshine request and should not have submitted the tips in that manner to begin with. Quote, I released the info in an attempt to discourage such behavior in the future, added Toch, who claimed that those who had snitched to local authorities caused job losses to others. Those comments came despite St. Louis County having confirmed the most cases and deaths of COVID-19 in Missouri. Doug Moore, St. Louis County Executive's Director of Communications, said that details could not be redacted from the document that was shared online. Quote, in this particular instance, our county counselor's office consulted with the Attorney General's office on releasing the list of those who had filed complaints against county businesses, Mr. Moore told KSDK News. He added, quote, withholding information goes against what journalists push us to be, as transparent as possible. Toch, who has also shared other unfounded claims on Facebook. Okay, so what do you mean other unfounded claims?
I don't know.
Weird. Okay. Tachu has also shared other unfounded claims on Facebook, including one post that called COVID-19 a media-driven pandemic. Said that he had seen the documents shared on another Facebook group before posting about the snitches. It comes as some Missouri businesses begin reopening on Monday. Last month, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio was criticized over the launch of a messaging service that encouraged New Yorkers to report on those breaking lockdown measures. The app was shut down within hours after it was inundated with memes and complaints about Mayor de Blasio.
Good job, citizens.
Yeah, I know. Citizens unite. The citizens are really starting to wake up and make moves, man.
Yeah.
With all the protests and now this is pretty intense. But let's go back. That was really interesting. In this paragraph, it says, Toch, who has also shared other unfounded claims on Facebook, which is implying that something he shared before is unfounded. And all he did was post this official document that came from the government. Yeah. Sunshine laws, for those who don't know, is kind of like a FOIA just on the state level, coming from, sunshine is the best disinfectant, which is sort of trying to keep the government transparent. Yeah, weird. Somebody over there at Independence using some weird little linguistic techniques to paint Toch as a weird, malcontent.
Some NLP, some subtle ways to try to convince the reader that what he did was wrong. He's bad. Yeah. Bad person. But
bad person. I know. To hear this, look, I don't want anybody to get hurt or whatever, and I don't think anybody's going to hurt these people, but that's what you get for snitching on people, man. Calling the government for going outside, walking your dog on businesses who are trying to just survive. I don't really have a lot of pity for these people.
No,
that's what you're gonna do if you join the government cult. you're gonna get you got to live with the consequences.
It's really interesting how they, promoted this Patricia lady as doing what's right. That's what she said. I did what's right. When
Yeah.
that's the big dilemma here. What is the right thing to do? And
Well, right,
obviously
and that's exactly right. Because
yeah.
if you are buying into the mainstream, government narrative of this thing, she really does think that she was doing right, and I get that. If that's your worldview and you don't know any better, you're just gonna do what you're told. And it's a good example of human beings, what they're capable of doing when they believe it's the right thing, snitching out their neighbors for some minor breaking of quarantine. It's a good example in this big experiment that's being run right now on how we can get the population to police themselves. Then she's just an example of a willing participant in self-policing to help lock down the whole thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, there you go. That was a fun follow-up to all the snitching going on.
It's interesting again how what does it mean to be a good citizen? And it's just like it's like two different worlds, two different dimensions that we're in. One believing that the snitching is bad, the other saying snitching is good. But one of the things that we mentioned very early, as soon as this whole virus thing and the quarantine started to happen, immediately, obviously, the listeners to this show and people that have followed our work and stuff, immediately the thought was drones, robots, all that stuff is the perfect answer to deploy for all kinds of purposes. And one of the things that we talked about before is drones, and we got another update on drones here.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
This is ibtimes.com. Technology during coronavirus. Could medical drones be an effective tool to tackle the crisis?
What are medical drones?
Medical drones. They're going to give you your vaccines from the sky.
Oh my God. Shoot a little dart through your bedroom window.
Seriously. As coronavirus has prompted concerns about whether vital medical supplies could reach individuals in need, drones that airdrop personal protection equipment, treatments, and other items could play a crucial role in tackling the crisis. Since the coronavirus is highly contagious, citizens may be cautious about going to a medical facility for supplies. Drones alleviate this concern by delivering health goods to those in need without human contact. Have you noticed that? They're really just like poo-pooing human contact. Very strange.
Totally.
It's a perfect way to
It's
depopulate
so weird.
everybody, It's like no human contact.
Well,
San
it's that
Francisco.
social distancing thing, like physical distancing was the actual term we should have been using, but social distancing being a weird neuro-linguistic programming way to put it, where it's not only are you physically distant, but you just can't interact with anybody.
Right. San Francisco-based startup Zipline has used drones to deliver blood and medical supplies to health facilities in Rwanda since 2016 and has expanded to Ghana. Now the company wants to expand its services in the United States. San Francisco-based, with Zipline having 2 distribution centers in California that operate as test facilities. Zipline can reportedly begin making drone deliveries once it receives the green light from the Federal Aviation Administration. Quote, "The good news is that there's technology like this available," Zipline CEO Keller Rinaldo told CNN Business. Quote, "The U.S. is falling behind, and COVID-19 will be a good chance for us to step into the future and start building infrastructure for the 21st century." Sounds like the Agenda 2030 in full play here. Some parts of the U.S. are already seeing medical supplies being delivered by drones. In one Florida retirement community, CVS and UPS will begin making deliveries of prescription medication by drone in order to protect elderly citizens. Quote, "Our new drone delivery service will help CVS provide safe and efficient deliveries of medicines to this large retirement community, enabling residents to receive medications without leaving their home," Scott Price, UPS Chief Strategy and Communications Officer, said in a press release Monday. Quote, "UPS is committed to playing its part in fighting COVID-19, and this is another way we can support our healthcare customers and individuals with innovative solutions." And it kind of goes on. You guys get the point. This reminds me of... I don't know why I thought of this, but I had a very, very vivid dream several years ago where literally drones came down and I had to like order stuff on the drone and it was like deploying stuff on the drone. I don't know. It just reminded me of that. Very strange.
You know, yeah, it makes me really question how this is going to work. You know, this company started in Africa. Well, I don't know if they started, but they're operating in Africa,
Right.
which is very interesting. I don't know what kind of money you can make over there shipping blood around. But you know, I don't know if this whole drone thing is actually going to happen anytime soon. I feel like if anybody could have gotten the drone thing through to start working, it would have been Bezos. And the Amazon drone thing basically got canned a few months ago. I mean, I haven't heard anything new about it. It was kind of just like I don't know. I feel betrayed. I think it was just like a PR stunt. So I'll be very interested to see if there could be some commercial drones flying around. The problem with San Francisco and why I don't think this is going to happen, especially in San Francisco, is San Francisco is a fairly small place geographically. I mean, there's a lot of people, obviously, but geographically, it's a fairly small area.
It's pretty dense.
And the airport. I mean, there's the San Francisco airport right there, and you FAA rules. In some places, you can't fly a drone within 5 miles of an airport.
Right.
So I don't think this is going to happen. I don't know what kind of special certification, but you know, it's one step towards us not needing to leave our houses for anything. Somebody in the chat says they want to get their insulin from a drone. I could see that being kind of fun.
You know, I really hope because of the laws or whatever restrictions, they have little parachute systems where they like try to, you know, calculate the wind or whatever, and they just start parachuting down all these drugs. That'd be pretty funny.
Dropping them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Operation Dumbo drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I will say
anything else about this?
Well, not specifically this, but I do want to read. It kind of is a tangent here. Actually, wait a minute. Is there another? Sorry, I'm a little woozy on the. Yeah, we can talk about this real quick. I got a note from a patron, and it was an interesting patron, or not a patron, interesting message from the patron.
Interesting patron. We have the most interesting patrons.
We have very smart people supporting us. And this person said, I met you and Basil at a conference in Ohio. That was 2014, folks. And by the way, yes, you can meet Basil in the flesh without googly eyes if you come to conferences. And I followed you and learned a great deal. I'm a retired ICU RN, back to work as hospice nurse, and many folks suffering and dying, not of flu, of hospitals being empty and closed to all treatments of cancer, chronic disease, organ failure, on and on. I've never seen anything like this and have worked downtown in Columbus 40 years watching the world get darker and darker. I've cared for babies dipped in boiling water, women set on fire by husbands, police and gang members riddled with bullets, cartels delivering their iron just like Amazon Prime, but nothing like this lockdown.
Wow.
So anyway, they said thank you for the support, or thank you for doing what we do and everything. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of the sentiment I'm hearing from a lot of people in the medical industry, is at least people that are close to it. They're saying, yeah, the COVID thing's not really killing anybody. It's all the stuff that would normally be taken care of.
Yeah, that we're not able to serve the needs we're able to serve because we have empty hospitals and aren't letting anybody in.
And they're just making TikTok videos. You know, all the nurses making TikTok videos instead of really treating people. But that, I mean, you know, it's just a report from somebody, a real person that supports the show and everything. So just wanted to throw that out there as a report.
No fringy blog post. That's straight from a listener like you folks.
That's right.
And speaking of listeners like you, I want to give a shout out to dollar signs. Oh, I can't believe I read that. Dollar signs, who just moved from YouTube over to Twitch.
Nice.
Thank you very much, dollar signs. And I'm going to go through real quick, give a shout out to some followers. And I want to let everybody know, I know people are tired of hearing about it, but you know what, Gons, we got to support ourselves. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Okay.
You know, if people don't want to hear me talking about Twitch, they can go support us on Patreon or PayPal. And then I won't need to talk about Twitch so much. But here we go. Twitch, folks, as you know, as you've heard me say over and over, has a lot of great tools for Gonz and I to support ourselves. And we're trying to get an average of 75 concurrent viewers per live stream over there. So we need a little bump up this episode. So if you're sitting there on YouTube, head over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And here's the fun thing. There's a couple of fun reasons to do this. First of all, you made your Twitch account, or I'm sorry, your YouTube account way back before you ever thought of making a fun name. And you're just, got your regular name on there and you wish you could have a fun name. Well, now's your chance. Go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, make an account, follow us. It's not connected to Google anything, so you got to make a new account. But you can make a fun new username. I mean, how often do you get a chance to do that? And when you do that, I'll give you a shout out on the show. So I'm going to run down the list today and give some shout outs to listeners who are watching us over on Twitch or have joined us over on Twitch. We got Escapes, Scapes, whatever that is. Thank you for being here. We got Zephyr Books.
All right.
Redeemed Matt. We got EPM 31676, Alley Cat Eden 1251, Overcome the Madness, Logos 3BC, Code Maxim, thanks for being here. We got Namwen, thank you, Namwen, and Kimi. There we go. There's more. I'll give a shout out later on. But if you have not done it yet, head over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Follow us. If you follow us on the show now, I will give you a shout out at the next break. We really need to get our numbers up over there. 75 concurrent viewers on a live show. So please do that. That'll help us out quite a bit. Other than that, Gonz, I think we're ready to head back into the show.
It will kill.
Gonz, it will kill. This popped up, I believe. I only started hearing about it today. Apparently, it's been out for a couple days. But just when the country was starting to lift bans, we got Texas out moving around. We got some states here or there moving around. Actually, it seems like where I am, people have completely forgotten about COVID-19. Last show, we passed the hat around trying to get some money together to upgrade our internet. And today I got my internet upgraded thanks to you listeners who supported the show.
Yes,
yeah, over on Patreon and over on PayPal. Thank you guys so much. It makes a huge difference. I just about 20x'd my upload speed because of your guys' help, and Gonz, you're working on it as well.
Yeah, I actually got some gear, but the gear isn't exactly working the way it's supposed to. But you're coming in very crystal. Those googly eyes are much clearer for people to see.
I feel like a new man. I feel like I'm living a whole new life now with my super fast internet, and that's thanks to the listeners. And we're going to be upgrading Gonz's whole rig, network stuff, so the show can be more. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Consistent, safe, less frustrating.
Yeah.
We're going to tear out our hair less. Anyways, I had the internet guy come in today and install some hardware in my house to upgrade the internet, and he didn't care at all. He rang the doorbell. I opened it up. Neither of us were wearing masks. He just walks on in.
All right.
Nobody's worried about. You would think, he's from the internet company. You would think that they would force him to wear a mask.
Maybe he was rebelling against the protocol, And
maybe he might be listening. I don't know. He seemed like a guy who might listen to the show. So if you work for the internet company and installed some new hardware to a weirdo and his cats today, good. Thanks. You really saved the show, buddy. All right. Moving on. I don't know why I got off on that, but here's a story from NewYorkTimes.com. Oh yeah, that's why I was just getting into it. Just as quarantine orders, isolation orders were just being lifted, of course, this comes out. Murder hornets in the U.S. The rush to stop the Asian giant hornet. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yep. I just think it's so funny. It's like, what else? Okay, good. We're starting to lift the quarantines. Everything's going to be okay. Don't go outside. You'll get murdered by hornets. Okay, Blaine, Washington. In his decades of beekeeping, Ted McFall had never seen anything like it. As he pulled his truck up to check on a group of hives near Custer, Washington, in November, he could spot from the window a mess of bee carcasses on the ground. As he looked closer, he saw a pile of dead members of the colony in front of a hive and more carnage inside. Thousands and thousands of bees with their heads torn from their bodies and no sign of culprit. Quote, I couldn't wrap my head around what could have done that, Mr. McFall said. Only later did he come to suspect that the killer was what some researchers simply call the murder hornet. With queens that can grow 2 inches long, Asian giant hornets can use mandibles shaped like spiked shark fins to wipe out honeybee hive in a matter of hours, decapitating the bees and flying away with the thoraxes to feed their young. For larger targets, the hornet's potent venom and stinger, long enough to puncture a beekeeping suit, make for an excruciating combination that victims have likened to hot metal driving into their skin. In Japan, the hornets kill up to 50 people a year. Now, for the first time, they have arrived in the United States. Mr. McFall still is not certain that the Asian giant hornets were responsible for the plunder of his hive, but 2 of the predatory insects were discovered last fall in the northwest corner of Washington state, a few miles north of his property. The first sightings in the United States. Scientists have since embarked on a full-scale hunt for the hornets, worried that the invaders could decimate bee populations in the United States and establish such a deep presence that all hope for eradication could be lost. Quote, this is our window to keep it from establishing, said Chris Looney, an entomologist at the Washington State Department of Agriculture. If we can't do it in the next couple years, it probably can't be done. On a cold morning in early December, 2.5 miles to the north of Mr. McFall's property, Jeff Cornelis stepped on his front porch with his terrier mixed dog, looked down to a jarring sight. Quote, it was the biggest hornet I'd ever seen. The insect was dead, and after inspecting it, Mr. Cornelis had a hunch that it might be an Asian giant hornet. Did not make much sense given his location in the world, but he had seen an episode of the YouTube personality Coyote Peterson getting a brutal sting from one of the hornets. And Gons?
Yeah. Yep.
I sent you this video right before we started the show. If you have not seen this video of Coyote Peterson getting stung by so Coyote Peterson's this guy who has been going around catching the most herdy insects, the most evil looking bugs in the world, and purposefully stinging himself with them. And it is excruciating to watch. What did you think about that, Guns?
I don't know how I got through watching it, but this guy, he just goes in there and he stings himself, and he's, it looked pretty painful, I gotta say.
It's the most. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it when you watch it.
Yeah, I felt something crawling on my arm earlier, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit, just because. I don't know why you sent me that stuff. The weird videos of guy stinging himself with the hornet. But
he's so funny. I love that guy because right before, so he's holding this giant hornet, and he's holding it up to his arm. He's like. My name's Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to go into the sting zone. And stings himself with the hornet.
And it's not the only one. He's doing a series of which bug is the most painful stinger or whatever, and he's like rating it. He's like, oh, it's a 4. This is a 4. It's just like, oh my gosh.
We're gonna pull some jingles, some clips from that thing, because the best one is. Oh, searing pain.
Searing pain. Oh, man.
Searing pain.
Yeah.
Well, good on you, Coyote Peterson. If you're listening, send us a email or something. So yeah, anyways, the article goes on telling many stories of different individuals who saw these hornets, but dude, this thing said that he found them in November. So they've known about they've just been holding this killer hornet thing in their back pocket waiting
Yeah.
for a moment to up the stress level on the population.
You know what I'm waiting for is the simulation of what would happen if they start breeding and expanding across the United States. And I want to see that presentation given to...
Bro, it does not look good.
No, it would be horrible. Yeah, that would be... Yeah, that's not good.
We're already having trouble keeping bees alive around here, and now we have bee eaters.
Bee eaters,
They
giant
sound
hornets.
like cold, hard killers, too.
I know, yeah.
They sound like they killed millions of bees and just, like, took a couple to go feed their young.
Yeah.
Sick, man.
Sick. I do want to
wasps.
mention we got a few super chats coming into the YouTubes. We got Caleb
Yay!
asking a question. Thank you for the super chat. How many pesos to see Basil's face?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have to check the exchange rate.
Okay. Adam, thank you for your super chat. Dallas, Texas, listening. And JB, also with the super chat. Thank you for that. And no message there, so just the super chat. And I don't know why this...
Thank you, guys.
I don't know why. I think the stream says it's May 1st, but I don't know. YouTube's weird. YouTube doesn't... Susan, get with it. Come on now. Go to Twitch, because YouTube's obviously not really doing well
You
with
got to
some
go
of
to
this
Twitch.
technology.
Susan Wojcicki watches this on Twitch.
There was
Is she logged in?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
I think I
she's
saw
on
her,
there.
yeah.
Susan Wojcicki is watching us on Twitch.
Yep, and I think Bill Gates official is too. So that's
Bill Gates official.
Bill Gates
How did I
official.
miss it?
Oh, you missed that one? Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's my favorite so far. All right. So what else we got here? Oh, we got a beast system. Or are you done with the Hornets? Or you got more to say?
Yeah, I'm done with the Hornets.
I will say one last thing. I just noticed it. This guy that has the little hornet here in the picture for the article, the New York Times article, he's got like a little bird pin or something, but maybe it's an owl. Maybe he's part of the Club of Minerva, and he's just getting ready to unleash these hornets across the United States and call fire down from heaven. Okay.
I got to give one more Twitch shout out to Nephilim Update.
Yes. That was good. All right. Good creative
Nephilim
name.
Update has his own jingle.
I know. That's
or
kind of
or whoever.
They hijacked it. Okay. Here we go.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
One of the things that we track here is CERN. Been tracking it for years, starting in I think 2014 or 15 when I started to really track it. And actually, somebody messaged me today and asked, "What about CERN? Haven't heard about CERN in a while." And this just happened to pop up. CERN is taking extreme initiatives against COVID-19. The community developed a high-tech ventilator to fight COVID-19 effectively, just in time for everyone to get back to work.
CERN did?
Yep.
What?
In Europe, physicists are working on a ventilator for COVID-19 patients, which works on batteries. The work is done in Europe CERN lab, which basically deals with mild coronavirus patients. Interesting. According to the Swiss-based lab, this model should be ready as soon as possible. It should be in use within weeks and in hospitals soon. This will help us in many ways, such as this will save heavy-duty machines and will save electricity. It's an interesting writing here. The facility is developed in Geneva, and almost 18,000 strong network experts are involved in it. It is a resource against the COVID-19 pandemic, as said by Fabiola Gianotti. This technology comes from CERN, which is a giant lab and a tunnel situated in the French-Swiss border, which as the world's most powerful particle accelerator. I wonder if this was translated from another language into English.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's, translated from Swiss, probably.
Maybe. Engineers and physicists are working on this high-energy ventilator, HEV, H-E-V, kind of like hive, in the LHC lab. Since this pandemic is hitting the world hard, it is getting difficult to arrange the resources and ventilators. Therefore, this technology would help everyone in a major way. Some other research for the novel ventilator is going on, which can detect the gas flow for particle physics detectors. I think. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, they're taking parts from the
Right.
CERN lab to make ventilators.
Right. This was just worded strangely. However, the HEV can be used for patients who are in a mild recovery phase of coronavirus. In this case, the high-end machines would be available for intensive case of coronavirus. This ventilator is cheap and runs on solar energy and emergency generators. Didn't it say it was run on batteries earlier?
I don't know, man. They're crazy over there, CERN.
And
this thing runs on whatever you want. Just throw some sticks in there, light it on fire. This baby will keep going all night.
It's like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. You know, that scene where Doc comes in and he just starts throwing trash in the thing, and he's got to go back to the future. But anyway, CERN, contributed. I think we reported on something like this a couple weeks ago, but just a little bit more information, or I guess another article talking about it. I guess, CERN workers in quarantine, they got nothing better to do, so they're using the same techniques they know how to build, the particle accelerators, and they're helping out the masses. But really, I don't know. It feels like just a PR stunt, to be honest.
Well, see,
to keep them in the news.
Yeah, that's been the thing. Yep. CERN has to come out with something about every 3 to 6 months just to keep their funding going. But this whole ventilator situation, and we've talked about it before, so not to go too deep into it, but there's mainstream media. PBS was reporting about how doctors were coming out and saying, actually, we're killing more people with ventilators than COVID-19 is.
Right.
And it's all about dialing in the right settings. And at one level, if you got the ventilator turned up, you can blast people's lungs out, and et cetera, et cetera. So I with this whole thing winding down, man, we're going to have way too many ventilators on our hands.
Yeah. And also, the hospital's making, what was it? $35,000 if the patient goes on a ventilator. That's financial
I don't remember
incentive.
Exactly, but yeah,
that seems to be part of this as well.
Well, and it's a nice, like you said, little PR thing, little virtue signaling. If your company isn't going to get, isn't doing any business at the moment, you can make ventilators, and the government will pay you money, and everybody will call you a hero.
Yep. Yeah. I know.
Okay. Anything else?
I got distracted.
Did we crack that nut?
No, I got distracted because we got a couple more super chats coming in here, and they're starting to come in. Yeah, I'm actually checking for the first time here, or I guess the second.
Well,
time.
why don't you collect some of those, and I'll talk about our next story.
All right, here we go.
Space Pope reptilian. We should all just
vaccinate. Herd immunity. Get your shots on.
Get your shots on. This is from republicworld.com. Pope Francis says it's important to guarantee universal access to health care amid crisis. Whoa, what a progressive stance. Amid the unprecedented outbreak of coronavirus, Pope Francis has called for international cooperation. Here we go. We're going to get some nice globalist speak here, to develop a vaccine. Good thing the Pope's getting in on this. If Pope Francis didn't say so, I don't know if anybody would try to be getting a vaccine.
Sarcasm, folks. Just to be clear, because I know the trolls are, Basil's a Jesuit.
I just love triggering the trolls.
I know,
man.
it's funny.
It's what I live for.
Okay.
Pope Francis has called for international cooperation to develop a vaccine to cure COVID-19 disease. No reason to put disease after COVID-19, and ensure its availability to the world. While delivering the address on May 3rd from Papal Library and not St. Peter's Square, Francis said that the country should bring together scientific capacities and find treatments to the disease that has impacted the lives of millions around the world. Try billions. If we're talking about impact, it's pretty much impacted everybody's lives. Whether you are or know somebody who may have gotten the disease, or the 6 billion people put on lockdown. Anyways, And find treatments to the disease that has impacted lives of millions around the world since it originated in China. Ooh. Francis even encouraged a transparent way to make healthcare facilities, including the essential technologies, to be accessible to everyone. When it said Francis even encouraged a transparent way to make healthcare facilities, I imagined him laying out some plans to build hospitals out of glass, so you can see in the whole thing. Okay, moving on.
The Pope is watching. Beware,
Yeah,
the Pope is watching every move.
We got to see all those nurses twerking in there. I would like to support and encourage the international collaboration that is taking place with various initiatives to respond adequately and effectively to the serious crisis we are all experiencing, said Francis. He added, "It is important, in fact, to bring together scientific capacities in a transparent and disinterested way, to find vaccines and treatments, and to guarantee universal access to essential technologies that will enable every infected person in every part of the world to receive the necessary health care." Earlier, Francis had also said that the drastic spread of COVID-19 implies that, quote, "time has come to eliminate inequalities," he said from his golden balcony covered in diamonds. Earlier this month, Pope called for, I like they just called him Pope this time.
Yeah.
Like that's his first name. Earlier this month, Pope called for solidarity in the world's response to the coronavirus outbreak, leading to, quote, "difficult times." The Vatican quoted him saying, quote, "May we be profoundly shaken by what is happening all around us. The time has come to eliminate inequalities, to heal the injustice that is undermining the health of the entire human family."
I like how it's. I like how it goes. The virus thing all the way to we must heal the injustice and eliminate inequalities.
That's the Pope for you, always caring for the little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from okay, don't worry, trolls, chill out. Apart from Pope Francis, another religious leader, Dalai Lama, also issued a statement on the global health crisis and called for world leaders to, quote, "focus on what unites people to respond to the global health crisis." The Tibetan spiritual leader said in a statement on May 3rd that loss of lives, among other challenges posed by the drastic spread of COVID-19 disease, no reason to put disease after COVID-19, can only be dealt with, quote, "coordinated global response." According to him, it is the only way to match the unknown magnitude of the difficulties the world would face because of the outbreak. Dalai Lama concluded by praying that everyone heeds the call to unite. So there you go. You got Pope Francis. What?
I said unite.
Unite. Yeah, and the call to unite is all capitalized as if it's a proper noun.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there you go. You got the Pope and the Dalai Lama both calling for some globalization to take place there. It is interesting that, among the Protestant crowd, there's no one big main figure that can push for the globalization. I think the closest thing Protestants have is, Joel Osteen or something.
That's true. I'm trying to think of, I guess it's like mega pastors or I don't know.
But even then, nobody really outside of the mega church of the mega pastor really cares or listens to him.
That's true.
Or obeys orders, I guess would be another way of putting it.
I think that's why the politicization of the just the Protestantism, so to speak, is pretty strong right now. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They got around the herd somehow, and then that's the way to do it. What might be fun, Basil, one of these days? Just because we get called shills all the time. You you change your googly eye costume. You disguise yourself as the Pope, and I will be
the Pope,
and I'll be the Dalai Lama. And
that's racist, Gons. I want to be the Dalai Lama. You make me the Pope just because I'm white?
You're white? Is that?
Oh shit!
Is that
gave away the secret?
You gave away the secret. Yeah, kind of.
That would be funny. That would get us in trouble even more if we're looking for more ways to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. It's okay. We we cause enough
We
trouble. I guess
we do have some Catholics who listen to the show.
Yeah.
And they are tolerant people. They tolerate us and our
Tolerate us.
Pope jingles. So
Yeah.
good on you Catholics tolerating us so much. We can't wait to unite.
I do want to throw this in here. Two things actually. One, I totally forgot to mention that there's a meeting happening that was supposed to be in February, but I think they're redoing it now. This is back to the CERN story, Introduction to Quantum Computing, and they're going to have this this meeting online. I don't know if it's available to the public or not, but we'll leave a link in the description of the website, canarycrynewstalk.com, and you can check it out from the Department of Theoretical Physics. They're going to be introducing quantum computing with high energy physics as a discussion. So just a reminder there. And also, we have the Pope, we have the Dalai Lama, and according to Amici Stein, this was earlier today, and we were looking for an article, but I don't think we necessarily found one. But it was tweeted out, joint statement by the Israeli Ministry of Defense and the Israel Institute for Biological Research. A significant breakthrough has been achieved in finding an antidote to the coronavirus that attacks the virus and can neutralize it in the sick body. And so an antidote is not a vaccine.
Yes, very interesting. Very interesting to start hearing about an antidote instead of a vaccine.
Yeah.
I blanked out for a second. Who is this guy? What is his?
I think let me just click on his profile here to find out. I think he's a reporter in Israel. I'm not correspondent at the Atcan Diplomatic Desk, Israeli Public Broadcasting Corporation. So somebody in the public media over there in Israel. And, Israel was the first country, as soon as the coronavirus thing happened, Israel was the first one that said, we will come out with a vaccine in weeks or days or something. And everyone was like, really? In days and weeks, a vaccine? So,
right.
That they're one of the tech giants in the world that nobody really talks about. They're very much, ahead in the technology realm. So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I'm going to give a quick troll award to Goldfinch Girl over on Twitch. That Basil has white supremacist googly eyes. Literally, Hitler had eyes like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is interesting. Yeah, talking about an antidote, and that was one of the suspicious things when this all first started, and the immediate conversation started to be about vaccines and not an antidote, not a cure. They skipped right over. All the officials, even Trump himself, kind of went straight to, we got to find a vaccine. We need a vaccine. Let's start working on a vaccine. And nobody was talking about hey, let's just cure it. Let's find a cure. So when people get it, we can just cure them. No need to do the whole vaccine thing.
Yeah.
And so, first time in a long time, I'm hearing anybody talking about an antidote. And there was, oh no. Brain fart. I had a very good point to make, but it'll just have to wait.
Okay. I do have some super chats coming in as well. Some more. Caleb sent another super chat. Thank you. Love you, Basil and Gon's been watching, listening for the last 7 years since I became a Christian. So awesome. That is so cool. And also Smarty Pants, show me that face. Says Caleb.
Yeah, I know. We got some Basil face obsessives in the crowd tonight.
And we also have Luke, Matt, everyone. Bill Gates is not a doctor, and please share this video everywhere. # let my people go. And also Adam, thank you for your super chat. Reach down to the furthest parts of your intuition. Go with your gut and apply common sense to stay alive and survive in this world of lies. Love your videos, guys. That. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Adam. And I got one more here. Big Dog 2383 Acosta. I'm on the fence with time travel being possible, but if Satan, knowing what he knows now, why wouldn't he just travel back in time to kill Jesus before he was born and prevent salvation? Maybe because he can't. Time travel is reserved for God and his chosen. If you've ever read some of his some of
We got some great episodes about that on
we do.
Canary Cry Radio.
Yeah,
People want to go back, check it out.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. Thank you for all the super chats.
Okay, why don't you hit us with some Zoltan news before we take an official break?
Okay, Zoltan. This is hard. There's so much stuff to juggle here with jingles.
I know. We're pros, man. See, this is the thing. People don't really realize it, but with all the stuff we got going on here, with the broadcasts all over the internet, the chats, the articles, the sound, the jingles, the graphics, everything, we're running like I mean, it may not look like it or seem like it sometimes, but it's quite the first-rate show we got going on here.
We have a lot of buttons to press, and it's only 2 of us running it, so here we go. This is a story from beachgrit.com. And
love it.
Yeah, this is a story about Zoltan Istvan, our transhumanist politician. Already got a microchip in his hand. Yeah, Beach Grit. This is a surf.
That's a surfing publication.
Yeah,
isn't it?
This is. I really enjoyed
Zoltan,
this story.
Cool guy alert.
I enjoyed this story, and normally we're bashing Zoltan, right? But this time, I gotta hand it to Zoltan. Okay.
Oh, Zoltan.
Yeah, NorCal surfers in fury over transhumanist VP candidate and New York Times columnist who says surfing ain't a crime. Quote, "Stay home, kook. Shelter in place, Barney." There are pictures.
Why are they calling him a transhumanist VP candidate? Is he running for vice president now?
I don't know. He changes.
What in the world
he changes
is
so
going on
often.
with that guy?
He changes so often. It's hard to keep up.
It really does.
There are pictures of you on every telephone pole, soon to be on T-shirts, and local surfers all know your face now. That's a quote. As we've written before, surfers, if that's what you want to call us, have ridden the COVID train to hitherto never-before-seen heights of self-policing, usurping the usual snitches, informers, rats, and so on. Public exceptions, of course, are Joel Tudor and Derek Dunphy, the big waver and photographer who, according to Coronado Mayor Richard Bailey, single-handedly brought together all the mayors in San Diego to talk about and eventually overturn the no-surf ban. 2 days ago, the libertine transhumanist Zoltan Istvan, there's a typo here, they named him Istva, but it's Istvan, wrote in the New York Times of being a lockdown runner and, wait, transhumanism? Oh, using tech to beat death, disease, etc., not in the usual ways like antibiotics and dentures, but with artificial womb. The concept is that women have the right not to carry a fetus, but not kill it. Therefore, if artificial wombs can be employed, both sides of the abortion debate win. Kind of. And implants to augment our senses and melding of man and robot, etc. Terrific stuff, and I'll be the first to rid myself of this poorly functioning brain and body. Anyway, Zoltan wrote, quote, "I just couldn't see how walking out of my house, getting into my car, parking near the beach, and paddling into waves could be dangerous for anyone. Even on the beach, which hasn't been crowded since the pandemic hit, most people were wearing masks and practicing social distancing. In the water, we were always considerably more than 6 feet apart from one another. A few days ago, a county sheriff's officer stood outside his vehicle in a parking area of the beach in Bolinas, waving off visitors and telling surfers to go home. Like many other surfers, I avoided him by parking on a side street. I suited up, and after making sure he was looking the other way, sprinted to the water. I caught my first wave of the day a minute later. I understand that quarantine rules must apply to everyone or the plan to flatten the curve doesn't work, but I doubt that surfing alone jeopardizes the health of society in any statistically meaningful way, especially because all the surfers I've seen have been careful to practice social distancing in and out of the water. The physical, mental, and spiritual benefits of surfing outweigh the tiny chance a surfer might become infected or infect someone else." End quote. He does get a little silly when he writes about weeping in the surf and how being in the ocean and riding waves can be ecstatic and spiritual. I get it, I agree, but it looks rough on paper.
I love it. Whenever we find a Zoltan article, whenever we read it, it's like it's the first time they've ever heard of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it probably is, but being people who have followed this guy for years, keeping an eye on his tricky transhumanism ways, It's funny to hear people sort of just realize who he is and what he stands for.
Yeah. Importantly, he's a two-door, not a skin dizzle. Those must be insider surfer lingo that I'm really not familiar with. The response, very fierce. Hashtag go home, Zoltan, is trending on Instagram. And I'm not going to read that quote there, but I'm going to keep moving. Quote, you're the kind of guy that goes down and buys a chai latte, putting his infectious waste grubby mitts all over the counter, putting our local population at risk. There are pictures of you on that. We've already read that quote. This was Andrew Oston. To one cutie pie. Oh, I'm not going to read that either. Holly. Holly, you and plenty others have threatened me in social media, and there are screenshots for it all. I'm a federal candidate, and convicted violence against could mean federal prison. And because I'm a public figure, it may also mean more media at Bolina soon. That's Zoltan responding to the negativity.
Yeah.
There.
Wow, he's actually engaging.
Oh, he engages everybody. He engaged on my Twitter feed like a year ago. 2 questions in all of this, I suppose. Who's winning the war of hearts and minds, the Tudors or the Skinnies? And transhumanism? Did you ever think such a fabulous thing might happen in our lifetimes? So, I'll give Zoltan credit here for going against the recommendation and ignoring it and going out and catching some waves. And I love that the hashtag go home Zoltan was trending on Instagram.
So funny.
It's just
so
great.
Funny. And yeah, he's actually right. Threatening a candidate is just making the threat itself is a federal offense.
Yeah,
these people could get in trouble.
He's protecting
himself. Not a good way to earn their vote, but
he's probably like,
I feel like he was
put in this microchip.
He was trying to be the cool candidate who breaks quarantine and goes surfing.
Yeah, instead
all the surfers are just like, go home, kook.
But
okay, well,
we're gonna give him points for this one because we always bash on Zoltan and his transhumanist worldviews.
Give him a break here.
Give him a couple points here and there. So this one, good job, Zoltan. Nice going there. Rebel against the system. Go catch some waves. And I wonder if that microchip has to come out of his hand when he goes into the water.
Yeah, just make sure your microchips are waterproof there, Zoltan. And with that, Gons, let's take a very short break because I want to check over on Twitch, see who we got joining up here. And I want to give some big shout-outs to Slowman99.
Slowman?
Like a snowman? Techcentric. Texan over there. Somebody's trying to make me say bad words. We got, let me see if I can, we got Das, Mafo. I don't know what that means, but hi there.
Is that like the
Das?
Is that like the Couch King thing, the sofa thing?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do a Sofa King thing, just to keep the show PG.
Yeah.
Lady Raspberry 26.
Lady Raspberry.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, and then a couple of shout-outs from before. We got Xana Escaped, Existentially Yours, Migsum Day, Petruth P 34, P-Truth P 34, Darius Morb, Melons, This Is My Truth, and Schwa the Great.
All right.
Thank you guys for following over on Twitch, and thanks everybody who is over watching on Twitch. We're getting pretty close to our 75 average for this episode, but we still need about 20 to 30 people. So we got hundreds over on the YouTube. Hey, let's get 20 or 30 of you guys to head to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And why do I keep trying to get you to go to Twitch? Well, let me remind you. YouTube, notorious for censorship and demonetization. And I even saw tonight some YouTube viewers complaining about their comments getting erased because they were telling the truth. I'm telling you, that does not happen over on Twitch. So if you want to tell the truth, head on over twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We got to get those numbers up. And Like I was saying, YouTube, notorious for censorship and demonetization. Twitch has a whole slew of tools that will help Gons and I to support ourselves during this time. We are your essential employees. We ain't got any other jobs right now, like many of you out there. And so if you don't want to support us financially, a great way to support us is watching on twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And I'll give a shout out if you come follow on the air. Another great way to support us is going to patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio or patreon.com/CCNT. And, we subscribe to the value for value model. We don't do advertising. We made that decision a long time ago against better judgment. But what we do ask is if you enjoy the content and you get value, whether you're just watching these live streams or whether you listen to the podcast, which has hundreds of other episodes that you may not have heard. If you get value out of anything we do, you can go to patreon.com/CCNT and support us there. We've got some fun rewards and bonus episodes waiting for you. And here's the thing. A lot of people don't like Patreon. I get it. That's cool. I like it. It gives me money. But if you don't like Patreon, which there's a lot of great reasons to not like it, you can head to canarycryradio@gmail.com. If you go to Canary Cry Radio, that is not it. That's our email
that's our
address.
email address. I'm going, what are you
If
doing?
you want. canarycryradio.com/support.
There you go. I give you a ding for that. Good job, Basil.
I'm waiting for the jingle.
Oh, okay.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
There we go. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. You can sign up with PayPal, cryptocurrency, all sorts of stuff. And if commitment's not your thing, you can just give us a one-time gift over there too. That's how we mostly paid for our brand new internet, Guns. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
There's a question. A question came in. Does Canary Cry have an Instagram? We do. We have not posted anything for a while, but you can follow us on Instagram, canary.cry.radio.
What?
I don't even
know what that
Instagram.
was. Our Instagram? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't
It's
really.
our Instagram.
Not really an IG guy. I'm behind on the times. I'm
He's not
stay
an
away
IG
from
guy.
all that. Yeah.
But you can follow us there if you want. Gons, surprisingly, we're almost up to 3,000 Twitter followers now, which is impressive because we don't do a whole lot of tweeting. But you can also follow us on Twitter if that's what you want to do.
We're at 3,000. On Twitter. Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
okay,
almost 3,000.
All right,
pretty impressive for not tweeting.
That's true. Okay, so we got are you ready for the next story here? Which is that's you. You ready?
That's me.
Yeah.
Tech-centric. Speaking of the beast system, Gons, Tech-centric says you don't have to ask for money when you're the son of God. Good point there, Tech-centric. Okay, beast system. This is pretty fascinating. I saw this floating around. There's been some great bloggers and other fringy content creators who started putting the pieces together. I was looking for a comprehensive sort of mainstream not breakdown, but announcement of this. And I have not been able to find a full comprehensive mainstream proclamation of this, if you will. But we, it was last year. It was a long time ago. We started talking about these quantum dot tattoos. Again, this is another we told you so moment. It was last year or 2018. We reported on quantum dot tattoos, and these are, exactly what it looks like. Tiny dots that are injected into your skin and can be scanned and hold medical records. It's very interesting. And let's see if I can pull up. Anyways, y'all know what quantum dot tattoos are. We talked about it. We actually read the official paper on it on the show back in the day. Well, turns out an interesting connection with that. I'm reading now from nature.com, and it's a paper titled Bioluminescent Quantum Dots. And the abstract reads, bioluminescence is widely used for in vivo imaging of nude mice by conjugating luciferase protein in quantum dots. Bioluminescence resonance energy transfer turns these useful fluorophores into a new class of bioluminescent probe. So long story short, these quantum dot tattoos are little dots of enzymes that get injected into your skin in a certain pattern to hold your medical records. And the enzyme being used for these is called luciferase. Luciferase, right. So we did kind of bring it up as a possible Mark of the Beast type of technology. But this, I don't know, man. This is a little fishy.
Yeah, they always slip in little names and references, but this one's pretty straight. Luciferase protein.
Yeah, it's like luciferase. Interestingly enough, luciferase. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's the enzyme used in the quantum dot tattoos. Just Google it. I didn't prepare like a whole breakdown here because we've actually accidentally done it on multiple episodes. And if you want to listen to those, you can follow us on our RSS feeds on Spotify, iTunes, probably YouTube as well. You can find it on the Canary Cry Radio YouTube.
Yeah.
But on the same track here, now, Gons, I like to bring, I like to keep a finger on the pulse of what the mainstream thoughts are on fringy ideas or fringy things going around. So this is Reuters.com. And, we've been talking a lot. Everybody's been talking a lot about Bill Gates and, his microchipping and the mark of the beast and
the
et cetera,
digital
vaccines,
ID 2020, all that stuff.
Right. All that stuff. Everybody's aware. Reuters.com here. False claim, : Bill Gates planning to use microchip implants to fight coronavirus.
It's a false claim?
That's what it says. False claim. Bill Gates planning, these late night shows, man, are weird. Bill Gates planning to use microchip implants to fight coronavirus. Okay, let's go.
All right.
A viral claim on social media says Bill Gates is planning to use microchip implants to fight the coronavirus. Most of the posts say Gates will, quote, launch human implantable capsules that have digital certificates which can show who has been tested for the coronavirus and who has been vaccinated against it. The claim has been shared at least 1,000 times, at least 1,000 times on Facebook.
I'm sure it's way more than 1,000 times.
I'm thinking just 1,000 times on my wall. People have posted that.
Yeah, it's probably in the millions.
And at least 3,600 times on Twitter. Blah blah blah.
And I like how they put links here, and here. Like this guy did so much research. He's like, look at these links. Look at all these crazy people.
Here's some hyperlinks to some bots. Okay. Most of the iterations of this claim link to or take their information from a post on March 9th and links it there. The story titled Bill Gates will use microchip implants to fight the coronavirus includes an authentic quote from a Q&A with Reddit about COVID-19 here. But the story then uses his Ask Me Anything answer as a springboard for speculation and attributed conclusions.
Unattributed.
They were not... What did I say?
Unattributed. Yeah.
They were not supported by Gates's responses in the interview. Written like a news article, the post misleadingly says that quantum dot dye, which I just mentioned, a technology indeed founded by the Gates Foundation, would be used as human implantable capsules. No. That have digital certificates, which can show. See, okay. So here's the point. Yeah. Before I get too long, the point of this whole thing is,
oh my God,
they're saying here's a false claim about Bill Gates, and every single thing that they say in it, they just slightly tweak enough where you can say, yeah, that is false. That's also not what we're saying.
Yeah.
they're taking. It's like whoever wrote this doesn't have a firm grasp on the theories being spread here.
Yeah, especially if a quantum dot die wouldn't be an implantable capsule. But anyway,
yes, exactly. And blatant things like that for people like us and our listeners know that it's just not the idea. It's false.
Yeah.
You're misrepresenting. It's basically this whole thing is a big straw man article.
Yeah.
But let's continue and find other straw men. Kevin McHugh, one of the lead authors of quantum dot die research papers, said the quantum dot die technology is not a microchip or human implantable capsule. And to my knowledge, there are no plans to use this for coronavirus. Let's just take that for a second. Okay, the quantum dot die technology is not a microchip. Okay, yeah. We know that.
Yep.
We're not claiming it is. Or human implantable capsule. What a strangely specific thing to say that we're saying, which we're not. Nobody thinks that the quantum dot die is a human implantable capsule.
It's almost like they took one article that sort of gave them the bias to disagree with. You know, it's almost like they found the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm totally blanking. I don't know. I had an analogy. Basically, they found what they wanted. They found a quote that they can tear down, a straw man that they can tear down, so to speak.
Yeah, and it is not the common thing. Now, that's why I'm looking back at these numbers saying it's been shared at least 1,000 times, which is, if you're taking this false straw man representation of the theory, calling quantum die a microchip and a capsule that you implant, maybe that weird false straw man has been shared 1,000 times, but the real stories have been shared millions of times. Anyways, then it goes into Gates did mention the possibility of having a digital certificate for health records eventually, but he did not say these certificates would be microchip implants. Nobody's claiming that. This was the Reddit exchange. Then he goes into the Reddit exchange. It's kind of boring. But hold on, let me get there. Okay, false. Bill Gates foresees the use of digital certificates with health records, but did not say these would be in the form of microchip implants. Okay, we're talking about quantum dot die. Nobody right here now thinks we're talking about microchips. There are no plans to use this future technology during the coronavirus outbreak, which is a very specific period of time that, as we've seen now, is just sort of whenever they say it is. We could already be past the outbreak, quote unquote.
Oh, I think we have been for a while, but that's just my opinion.
Exactly. And it says that he wants to use these quantum dot microchips that don't exist to fight coronavirus, which it's not used to fight coronavirus. It would be the certificate of vaccination. It would be health records.
Yeah.
So basically, Reuters is doing a whole fact check on something nobody believes in the first place. So good job, Reuters. There you go. Sorry to go through that maze of breaking that down for everybody, but you got to keep this in mind, and people, sometimes get upset that I read these sorts of things. But the fact of the matter is, you need to know what the other people think that you think. Yep. Because it's when you're talking past each other, they think you believe one thing, but they're getting it totally wrong. And you need to know that when you're out there having conversations with people, because they're, the normies are being specifically programmed to misunderstand you so they can just get mad at you and get triggered immediately. This is a message for every listener. The normies are being programmed to be triggered at the very whiff of something that they saw on a fact check. Well, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, this is the kind of article, too, where if anybody does bring up the Bill Gates stuff and the concerns of his digital ID 2020 and all that kind of stuff, where they can just say, well, see, Reuters debunked it, and they'll just drop a link. They may not even read it.
Right.
They just read the headline and be like, hey, look, see, Reuters. And that's kind of the issue here is maybe the headline does confirm your bias, but if you actually dig into it, it's a very narrow debunking. It's debunking. It's okay. So how many people wrote about this Bill Gates thing? How many people have tweeted about it? How many people have they published videos about it? But then they picked this one article or one thing that the guy who wrote this article saw, and decided to tear that thing down and say, oh, see how it's wrong and it's not correct. And it's just like, okay, all right. So you took down one guy who kind of didn't really represent the whole thing correctly in the first place, and now the debunking is misrepresenting the entire concern as a whole. So it's a like you said, it's a labyrinth of lies. And we're not saying that there's not going to be a mark of the beast or there's not going to be those things. Obviously, we believe here that it's coming, but if in the form of debunking those claims, you got to at least, in terms of the Bill Gates thing, you have to acknowledge the concerns. It may not be the mark of the beast, but you would be really disingenuous if you're denying the concerns people are having, because it does sound a lot like people that don't really study eschatology or not really into all that kind of stuff, but maybe they're Christians, they know it's in the Bible. It's going to come up. If a guy says, hey, we're going to mark you and we're going to track you and you're going to have an ID that's digital and all this stuff, those concerns are going to come up with people. And so obviously, I don't think this is the way to really, I hope nobody really uses this as their rebuttal. If
they are. And
I know.
The deeper funny thing about this is you're saying, hey man, this kind of looks like Mark of the Beast, this quantum dot thing, and the enzyme is called luciferase. And they go, no, look, Reuters says it's not the Mark of the Beast. Okay. Glad we're getting our end times eschatology from Reuters.
Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so let's go with what are we doing here? We are doing the.
You don't know.
Oh, there's Bill Gates official.
That thing. It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
Aliens.
Sorry,
it's okay.
I stepped on that jingle. I just saw Bill Gates official pop into our follower list.
Nice.
Got excited.
We got Bill Gates. We got Susan Wojcicki. We got all the real big names here. All the
elites love watching us on Twitch.
The elite totalitarian controllers. Okay, so this is futurism.com. Japan is creating protocols for dealing with UFOs. And it says here, in response to the U.S. Navy releasing its footage of UFOs, the Japanese government is now preparing for how it would handle such an encounter. The Japanese Defense Ministry says its pilots have never encountered an unidentified flying object. Really? I don't believe that. The Japan Times reports, but authorities want to be prepared should it happen in the future. And while the new protocols
Emperor identifies all flying objects.
Well, I think the wife of the emperor at some point we reported had a dream or had a vision or something where she was taken up in a UFO and went to Venus. And do you remember that?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
I do. I forgot about that.
So forget just a UFO sighting. These people have claimed to be on ships and stuff. Anyway. And while the new protocols are geared towards identifying military drones, they could also serve as guidance for first contact with hypothetical aliens.
Where are the aliens?
Identified flying objects. Right now, whenever an unknown aircraft enters Japanese airspace, fighter jets are dispatched to identify where it came from and, if necessary, force it to land by firing warning shots, Japan Times reports. But because military leaders don't know whether that would work on a UFO or even if it would be detectable from the ground, new guidelines could prove necessary. Quote, to be honest, I don't believe in UFOs, Defense Minister Taro Kono told the Japan Times, quote, but because the Defense Department released such a video, I would like to hear from the U.S. side about its intentions and analysis. Very Japanese to be skeptical and lean on other people's thinking to come up with their own pragmatic approach. The new protocols are based around a scenario in which a pilot on a training or surveillance mission encounters a UFO mid-flight. Quote, if UFOs are encountered, training will be canceled immediately. A source within Japan's Air Force told the Japan Times, quote, we will seek to identify it from a safe distance, including whether it is a drone, and report it to the Air Defense Direction Center for orders. And, you know, it's interesting how they have these protocols for drones, but drones and the alleged UFOs that were released in those videos, quite a bit different in terms of like speed and trajectory and just all kinds of maneuverability. Like, I don't know. Are they really? This feels kind of like just a lot of nonsense to me. I bet you they already have protocols and they're just kind of using this as an excuse to pretend like they need more.
It's part of the coronavirus distraction team, I think. You know, the who was it who actually declassified the recent UFO footage?
Navy.
Was that actually?
I think it was a Navy.
Yeah. So, you know, of course, people catching on to the whole nonsense with COVID and starting to get restless, so they released the UFO footage. Japan coming out officially saying that they have a UFO protocol for when they encounter one, which of course they would have already had. Like, hello.
Yeah. If you're
you know, they're a modern, highly technically advanced society. They already have protocols for encountering UFOs, but it's kind of part of this, you know, the distraction campaign to get people back thinking about the things, instead of, you know, looking at nurses doing TikTok dances.
Yeah, I'm sure the nurses doing the TikTok dances didn't go over well with the controllers there. Although some of that was probably in the cards, so to speak. If you go look at the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony, they had a whole little section there where they got dancing nurses and stuff. But
yeah, well, you know, and real quick, I do want to say about the nurses, because I feel like some people are being kind of mean to the nurses themselves. This isn't necessarily the nurses' fault. I mean, your anger is with the elites controlling the coronavirus panic.
Right.
You know, nurses, they're just trying to fill their day. They've been put on high alert and emergency status and cleared out all the patients and waiting for all these sick COVID people to show up. And they're in empty hospitals. What else are they going to do? Of course they're going to make TikTok videos.
Yeah.
It's not them being bad nurses by doing TikTok videos. It's, you know, the leadership that caused this whole nonsense and shut down the hospitals and won't let people get their cancer treatments or their their heart, you know, drugs or their heart treatments, or people dying for all sorts of reasons because they're not being let into the hospitals. And these nurses are there on 12-hour shifts with nobody to take care of. Of course they're going to do TikTok videos. So we got a lot of healthcare professionals who watch the show. So I want everybody to know I'm not mad at the nurses. I'm just saying, hello, it's a clue to what's really going on. And the nurses will be the first ones to tell you that, yeah, we got nothing to do. And nobody's showing up. Nobody's getting this COVID thing.
Yeah, man, that's true.
And I don't mean nobody, you know, some people are obviously sick,
right,
but not what was expected.
Yeah. And yeah, just back to the Japan thing here, Japan being a very highly technological country, it would be interesting. I would imagine that with all the anime that's being pounded into the heads of the Japanese people and all the crazy, you know, the demonic stuff and all that kind of stuff being, you know, just normal, it would take quite a bit to impress the Japanese population, because they have an old story. It's an old Japanese myth where a lady comes out of the ocean. You know, and they have drawings of it from several hundred years ago, and it kind of looks like a UFO. It's not exactly like a disc, but it's more like a kind of like an egg shape, but it's got like lines on it, and it looks kind of like a craft. And their whole mythology is they come from the ocean. They don't come from up above. They come from below. So very interesting if you're into the UFO thing about, you know, these entities or these crafts being able to go into the ocean. A lot of sightings. I think they're called USOs. unidentified submerged objects, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, just something to
Cool.
keep in mind. And,
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to start winding down the show a little bit here, Gons.
We got a couple more things to report here. It's a little more fun.
Yeah, we're winding, though. We're winding.
Winding, okay.
But while we're winding, let's pump it up, baby. Let's go to businessinsider.com because we've got some AI news.
Artificial intelligence.
businessinsider.com. This AI is creating some surprisingly good bops based on music by Katy Perry and Kanye West. Listen to some of the best.
I don't know about good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when it's coming from Katy Perry and Kanye West as the input data, how good could it be?
Yeah.
But there you go. We like to bring up. People are training AIs to write screenplays and novels and create art, all part of the plan to elevate artificial intelligence first to the level of human beings and then unto gods. But on the way, there's going to be some interesting speed bumps, and we'll take a look at that now. Business Insider reads, artists may need to start competing with or embracing computer-made songs and soundtracks in the near future. If a new AI music generator shows any indication of what could come next for the music industry. Researchers at artificial intelligence lab OpenAI have released Jukebox, an open source algorithm that can generate music complete with lyrics, vocals, and a soundtrack. All the algorithm needs is a genre, an artist, and a snippet of lyrics, and Jukebox can create song samples that can be realistic and quite catchy. OpenAI's music generator runs on the same sort of machine learning technology used to create deepfakes and employed by the slew of sites that popped up in 2019 generating fake memes, fake Airbnb listings, and fake cats.
I remember the fake cats.
And waifu. You remember my waifu?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Creepy.
I had an artificial intelligence create an anime wife.
Yeah, that's weird.
Moving on, Jukebox produces its AI creations using artificial neural networks that train a computer to learn from an influx of data. In this case, researchers trained a neural network using 1.2 million samples of lyrics, soundtracks, and tunes from dozens of artists. What? 1.2 million samples of lyrics from dozens of artists? That's crazy.
Maybe they write a lot, you know?
Maybe. Okay.
Or maybe a lyric is not a whole song. Maybe it's like lines or
syllable.
Something. Yeah, or syllable.
I think it's a syllable.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the results are surprisingly good. Jukebox pulls from songs across genres spanning pop, jazz, country, heavy metal, and hip hop. The artists include Frank Sinatra, Tupac, Katy Perry, Eagles, Beyonce, and Kenny Rogers. Nonetheless, there are some limitations, as Jukebox researchers acknowledge in a blog post on OpenAI's website. There is a significant gap between these generations and human-created music. Sorry, brain glitch. OpenAI researchers write, while the generated songs show local musical coherence, follow traditional chord patterns, and can even feature impressive solos, we do not hear familiar larger musical structures, such as choruses that repeat. The technology also raises some questions about potential legal issues. Jay-Z, for example, has recently been trying to get AI-powered impersonations of himself singing Billy Joel removed from YouTube. What a benign thing for him to be trying to get removed from YouTube. Deepfakes are being used for horrible, vile purposes, and Jay-Z doesn't want to fake himself singing Billy Joel on YouTube. His entertainment company Rock Nation cites YouTube uploads for unlawfully using AI to impersonate Jay-Z's voice, according to The Verge. Check out some of the best samples Jukebox was able to create with some assistance from OpenAI researchers. You might notice some of the songs mirror lyrics you're already familiar with. Okay, Gons, you gonna be DJ here?
I'll be DJ, and I'm not gonna play all of them. Let's see, Celine Dion, and all right, let's listen to some hip hop here. Let's see how this sounds. This is a way to honor Tupac's legacy. I'm sure he's so excited. I don't know if I can.
There we go.
A little funky. Is he gonna start rapping? Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Where am I again? I'm trapped in between the lines. I escape. When I'm finished the vibe, when you make me really throw the line. I'm going to set the horse and hard to see. I can really was sincere. What's the game? What's going on?
Okay.
It sounds like a Tupac song.
Kinda, yeah. One thing the AI hasn't figured out is how to mix, because the mix is just horrible. If you ever want to reimagine Eminem's "Lose Yourself" in Kanye West's music style, look no further. They like long intros.
Good, cause you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment. We just got sugar, but kids let it slip.
Okay.
Yeah, his palms are sweaty, knees.
All right. Okay.
It's so funny because it barely even makes words, which
Yeah.
in the hip hop thing, like I already kind of had a hard enough time picking out words in a lot of hip hop. So it sounds totally legit to me.
Yeah, let's change it up a little bit because we're going to look at the diversity. Somebody, Truth Rationale Scientist. Do you guys even know Tupac? Yes, we know Tupac. Illuminati. All right, so
I know him personally.
I know him personally. I was really into that when I was very young. Very young. I was probably too young to be listening to some of that stuff back when I was
Tupac
like 10.
lives.
Yeah, let's listen to some metal. We were both metalheads at one point.
Yeah.
Let's check it out here. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
get some
okay.
lyrics. Where's the lyrics?
It's metal, man. Sometimes it's just instrumental. You know how it goes. Yeah, let me see. Okay.
You know the okay.
All right.
All right.
Little harmony guitar there.
You can
The double bass.
Save that one for later. It was a good simulacra of metal. You know what? It kind of, because I couldn't pick out any words, it kind of reminded me of Japanese metal.
Oh, yeah. I can pick out words in
Did that
Japanese
not
metal.
remind you of some Japanese metal?
A little bit. Japanese metal's better.
Okay. All right.
All right. I think we're good. I don't think we need to do any more here. You get the
There's
idea
no,
here.
do a pop one. Do a pop
Okay,
one.
let me do a pop
We gotta
one.
give something to the.
Do you want
or
Frank
there's some
Sinatra?
Frank Sinatra.
You want, but
Yeah,
it's
do
Christmas.
the Frank Sinatra.
Okay, this one's Christmas in May.
AI Christmas song.
They really like the long intros.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one's spooky.
It's Christmas time and you know what that means.
What's it mean?
Oh, okay.
Frank?
Oh, it's hot tub time. As I light
Hot
the
tub.
tree this year, you'll be in a tub.
What?
I don't know. Hot tub time to light the tree.
Hot tub time. It's Christmas time. And so no upset news.
Okay.
I think
I
we
get
get
it.
it. We get it.
I do like it's hot tub time to light the tree. All right. There we go. We got AI writing Christmas songs, everybody. It's only a matter of time before.
You know what's going to be bad is this is going to happen in our lifetimes. I'm convinced that this is going to happen. But unless the Lord returns to stop it all, we're going to have musicians, pop star, rock star, whatever, that's going to merge with AI, and it's going to be like a celebrity musician type thing, and they're going to have this crazy music light show that's all going to be like, transhuman and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in our lifetime. It's inevitable.
Oh my gosh, it's going to happen next year at Burning Man.
Yeah, there you go.
This is not a question of lifetimes.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
question of, are they going to have Burning Man next year? Because that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we have a theme song for one of our new Twitch followers here.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
This is breaking Israel news, and this is kind of a double whammy with the Nephilim update and an unidentified flying object that we were just talking about earlier. Pentagon confirms UFO videos marking return of biblical extraterrestrials. And Judges 5:20.
Biblical extraterrestrials.
Yeah, Judges 5:20 is quoted from the Israel Bible. The stars fought from heaven. From their courses they fought against Sisera. And it goes through here, talks about the video, blah, blah, blah. We know about it because we reported on it. But it says down here, it goes into the Nephilim. Aliens in the Bible. The 6th chapter of Genesis describes interaction between strange creatures called Nephilim, literally the fallen, and men. And by the way, Dr. Heiser sort of refutes a little bit of that, the whole fallen thing. Although, I get it. It's close enough. Genesis 6:4, it was then and later too that the Nephilim appeared on earth when the divine beings cohabitated with the daughters of men and bore them offspring. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. In the pre-flood era of Noah, the Bible says that the sons of Elohim cohabitated with the daughters of men, and God immediately decided to limit man's lifespan to 120 years. The offspring of these unions were called Nephilim. The Nephilim are mentioned again in the book of Numbers as some of the huge residents of Israel present after the Exodus. Quote, we saw the Nephilim there. The Anakites are part of the Nephilim, and we look like grasshoppers to ourselves, and so we must have looked to them. That's Numbers 13:33. Some biblical commentaries also point to Judges as proof of extraterrestrials. I don't know why they keep saying extraterrestrials, but I guess that's the view they're saying here. The stars fought from heaven. We just read that one. From their courses, they fought against Sisera. Curse Meros, said the angel of Hashem. Bitterly curse its inhabitants because they came not to the aid of Hashem, to the aid of Hashem among the warriors. It is interesting to note that is verse 20. The prophetess Deborah explicitly states that Israel received aid in the battle from the stars. And this is where it gets interesting here. According to the Talmud, Moed Katan 16a, Meroz is a certain planet in the stellar sphere, and because the mention of it is preceded by the phrase, the stars in their course fought against Sisera, it thus follows that Meroz must be defined as a celestial body whose inhabitants were cursed for refusing to do God's will. Nephilim and the Messiah. The Talmud, Sanhedrin 97a, describes how the Nephilim will return as a part of the messianic process. In the Talmud's discussion between Rav Nachem and Rav Yitzchak asks Rabbi Nachem, do you know when Bar Nephli, the sons of the fallen, will come? Rav Yitzchak asks, Rav Nachman replies, it is Messiah. Rabbi Nachman bases his answer on a verse from Amos, which connects Nephilet, the fallen, with the return of the house of David. Quote, in that day I will set up again the fallen booth of David. I will mend its breaches and set up its ruins anew. I will build it firm as the days of old. It's Amos 9:11. Bar Nephli in the Talmud clearly refers to specific people who both Rav Yitzchak and Rav Nachman have heard of, and who Rav Nachman connects with the coming of the Messiah. As noted previously, the Hebrew verb nafal translates as fall, but here in the Talmud, the word is nafil in Aramaic. In the language of the Talmud, nafi means giants. It is interesting to note that in Gematria, Hebrew numerology, the words bar nafli, the sons of the fallen, equals 372, the same as Ben Yishi, the son of Yesi, connecting the return of Davidic dynasty with the appearance of the bar nafli. Basil, did you know that a lot of these Talmudic writings and the Talmud talks about the Nephilim returning, and that's the Messiah? I mean, whoa.
I had a great time being reminded just now.
That's
pretty intense.
If you're on the YouTube channel, you can dig up an old video that I did. I think it might have been one of these. You know what? It might have been a different rabbi, but a rabbi basically stated in like a, you know, it was a meeting of rabbis and others, basically that the Jews are the aliens. They're the ones that came down, and they're going to they're going to be the light bearers. They came here ahead of everybody else, and they're going to bring the light to the rest of the world. And so, and of course, I don't know if that's a common view or a fringe view, but I did report on it a few years ago. So this is not anything new in terms of that kind of narrative, but very interesting. This is one of those Nephilim updates that sparked by the UFO video footage that was released. And it seems like everyone's got their little angle. You know, we reported, I think, last week on Christianity.com bringing up the Nephilim. And now we have Breaking Israel News, which, yeah, it's a source that's out there, really digging into the whole Nephilim thing and putting their own Talmudic spin on it. Very fascinating. So that is our Nephilim update for the day.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
That's right. Okay. Well, there we go. We're going to start winding down the show here, folks. And I realize I'm over here on Twitch, and I see a bunch of people added us as friends as well, not just followed us. And just a reminder out there, if you join the Twitch, make sure to follow us as well. I see we have some new friends named Redeemed Matt. I think some of these did both, actually. I think I remember Redeemed Matt, but we got Josiah B. Dyer, Canadian Truth Serum.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it's maple flavored. Lianilian. Thank you so much for following us on Twitch. And if you're out there, remember, we do these shows. The best place is to watch them on Twitch, because they've got a lot of great tools for Gonz and I to support ourselves during these difficult times. And so if you guys would follow us on Twitch and watch live on Twitch, that would help us out a whole bunch. Plus, you'll get some live on-air shout-outs to everybody. And I want to thank everybody over on the YouTube, the Canary Cry Radio YouTube, Face Like the Sun YouTube, and the Facebook, and specifically the Facebook group, the Canary Cry Community, watching on a nice little watch party every episode. So if you want to connect with more Canarians like yourselves, folks, listeners just like you, trying to find people who listen to the show, you can search Canary Cry Community on Facebook, or go to canarycry.community. That's right. It's a URL, a real URL you can type into your browser, canarycry.community. It's a great off Facebook replacement for your social media needs. And there's all sorts of great people, listeners of the show, and even better conversations going on over there at Canary Cry Community. Don't got to worry about triggering your friends or your family. It's like I said last time, it's not all rainbows and puppy dogs over there, but at least you know that nobody's gonna send you to Facebook jail over there. You might go to mod jail. We got some great mods over there, but if you mess with the mods, you mess with the rest of us, so be careful. Lastly, remember, we subscribe to the value for value model. That means we create value and we give it to you. And if you get value out of what we do, it's now up to you to return the favor. If you've listened to one show, if this is your first show, or if you've listened to 10, or you've listened to between both shows, we're at least at 400 episodes plus bonus episodes. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of hours of stuff out there for you guys, all exploring the stuff that, hey, maybe your pastor doesn't explore on Sunday morning now that your pastor has to do Facebook Live videos. Maybe he does. He feels a little more free. Or she, who knows? Depends what you think. Anyways, moving on. But we rely on listeners returning value to keep the show going. So if you want to help us out financially, a great way to do that is go to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. And sign up to support us monthly. I mean, there's all sorts of fun levels there with different rewards and bonus episodes and all sorts of fun stuff. But I get it. Some people don't like Patreon. Of course, we totally understand. And in that case, get ready for it, Gons. You can head to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. Over there, canarycryradio.com/support. You can send us a one-time gift over PayPal or sign up, send some cryptocurrency. There's all sorts of fun ways to support the show over there. And speaking of crypto, remember you can go to canarycryradio.com/crypto to learn all about the decentralized web. You're going to want to do that because as things move forward, the centralized internet being provided to us by corporations is not going to become what it once was.
I'm going to stop you for a second. 1 second. Okay. I just found a typo on our support page that I need to fix. It says, disclaimer, Canary Cry Radio is not a nonprofit organization. So your gifts are not tax deductible. I said not twice. It should be just once. We are not a nonprofit organization. We're not a nonprofit organization.
We
Gotta
are
fix
not
that.
a 501c3
Triple
corporation.
negative.
Yes, I saw some conversations about that going on in the chat tonight. People talking about churches being 501c3s. And the fact of the matter is we are not one. So that means we do have to pay our taxes. Your donations are not tax deductible, but also we're free to say whatever we want. Yep. So that's the price we pay, and we're happy to pay it.
Yep.
So where was I?
Sorry, I broke your flow. And I will mention nobody has given us a canarycryradio.com/crypto jingle yet, but we'll wait for it. Somebody will do it.
Oh, yeah. We got to get a jingle. Oh, yeah. By the way, people out there who know your way around some sound software, maybe some musicians or maybe just fun people who like playing with some apps, many of our jingles are actually listener submitted.
Yep.
So if you want to submit some jingles to us, we'll give you a shout out on the show and play your jingle. A lot of the listener submitted jingles are in regular rotation. Speaking of the Beast system, what was that guy? We just got an email from that guy. Shoot, sorry, guy. Maybe I can open up the email real quick. I'm in virtual land.
In the meantime,
maybe you can do that
while you find that, or I guess I can look it up.
He sent us the money one. Did he send us the money one?
Oh yeah,
or
we had two people.
Recently?
We had two people who send us money one. We had a food one come in.
The food one. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll shout that guy out. He's great. He made us some jingles. But if you're out there and you like to mess around and make some jingles and help out the show, that's another great way you can support the show. Somebody out there, send us in your canarycryradio.com/crypto jingles, please. Okay, and as we start to wrap up one last time here, I want to remind you, hey, maybe you can't make jingles, maybe you don't have $1 to spare, but you can go on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere that the show exists and leave a rating and a review. Leaving ratings and reviews is super valuable to the show because it tells the algorithms and the robots to share the show with other people. It's hard to exactly express how important it is to keep having reviews and ratings come in. But hey, if you guys are out there, go to Spotify or iTunes, search Canary Cry News Talk, and leave a rating and a review. Tell people what you think about the show, and that'll make the robots tell people to listen to the show. So that's awesome. Please do that. And most importantly, people, everybody out there has friends and family who are glued to the television, the mainstream media, or getting their news from their Facebook feed. And if that's you, if you have friends like that, you got to walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever step me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Let's go.
Gons, I just pulled it up. We have to play it.
What?
It's Rich. Rich is the one who sent us in the Nephilim update. He did Speaking of the Beast system jingle.
Oh yes.
Go into the email. It's like the 6th email down or something, and download the thing he just sent us. This
he just
must
sent it
be
to
played.
us. Okay, so we will play that. In the meantime, real quick, as I'm loading this up here, Seeker197, thank you for the super chat. And Luke Matt, you're always in there, man. Appreciate it. He had a little note here. Thank you, Gons, for your streams. May God bless you and your family and everyone. Please follow FaceLikeTheSun on Twitter. So there you go. Thank you, Luke Matt. And let me see here. Let me pull this up. And where are we at? Where are we? Rich? Is that
Rattle a few funky cages.
Oh,
Yep.
here we go. Rich. So we have
I
a new
was
jingle.
so impressed by this, Rich, and I started sending you an email back, but I couldn't finish it. Rich, I know you're out there, man. Thank you for this. This
Hold
is
on.
amazing.
I am not. The computer has not been able to load.
Oh no.
This
no.
email. Hold on one second. Here we go. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and download it. It's because you were writing an email. That's probably why I was having issues here. I'm going to go ahead and download it.
Okay, let me know when that's
Let
me know when that's downloaded.
Okay.
Let me know when it's ready. I'll finish up the show here. So there you go. Again, very much. I'm sorry. We're just so excited about this thing Rich sent in. It's great. And if you are out there, you're a musician, you just like tinkering around, send us in a jingle. And make sure to tune in next time because we are going to, oh man, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, doing these live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And a lot of people ask us about our schedule. Usually it will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting sometime between noon and 5. That's the best window we can give you.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't stick to that window today, but generally Monday, Wednesday, Friday between noon and 5 is when we will start the show, and Lord knows what'll happen after that.
Okay, so I got the jingle ready. This is the first time I'm hearing it, so looking forward to it here. So, Rich, this is from you.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Oh, it's so awesome. Thank you, Rich. That is so cool.
So good.
That is definitely replacing the old one, at least for right now.
At least we should play that at the end of everything. Maybe that's a good outro mix. I don't know. We're going to start playing that a lot. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure to tune in next Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, sometime between noon and 5. But until then, folks, think outside the cage.
Son of a bee sting.
Where are the aliens?
I'm for the robots.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
And we are gone.